I think we should go ahead if anything is.
Okay, it's 6:36. We'll do a roll call. Councilperson Holhouse?
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel?
Here.
Councilperson Vasquez?
Here.
Councilperson White? Here. We'll stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Your camera setting turned on.
I know.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do you wanna, I'd like to visit approving the agenda with striking item C, consideration and possible action on continuation or termination of police chief contract. Modify the agenda to strike that.
So it's been motioned and second to approve the council agenda with the consideration of pulling item C off this agenda for another time. We'll vote. Councilperson Vasquez?
Yes.
Councilperson Light?
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel?
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse?
Yes. We
will go on to new business. Consider resolution 2025-88 for the award of a track loader.
Okay, so I have both of these resolutions. They were tabled from the last meeting. It was requested to get additional information by council and tabled, so I provided additional information. But there may be revisions that I would like you to look at for the resolution for the track loader, depending on if you approve. I want to just make sure that I have the correct funds, if we were to do that on the resolution, before approving also. So the one is to approve transfers, the other one is to award the track loader, but both of them, the 2025-87, I want to verify funds before, if it is awarded, I want to verify that the funding sources that we want to use are correct. So if you look at budget transfers memo number 3, which is behind the 2025-87, initially I shared with you that when we proposed this, went out to bid at $80,000, we proposed the $40,000 to come from RUT, $20,000 from sewer, and $20,000 from storm sewer. However, I believe one of the council members had mentioned not using storm sewer fund, which could work, and since the bid did come in lower than expected, we could actually take the full $54,661 from RUT for the equipment purchase, in addition to the additional equipment dollars, which was $7,487 that was transferred to, for the sum of the bid amount, which came in at $62,148.
I'm good with it.
So for the funding, we're saying all from RUT?
I would propose that because of the balance that we have in cash in the RUT, since it is an equipment purchase, I believe that we should go ahead and take the entire 54,661 from RUT and include the additional 7,487 that was transferred from the equipment account. And just do the full 62,000 that way and not take it from sewer or from storm sewer.
Yeah, I mean, my position is pretty clear the other night. I'm in favor of it. I think it's a good tool to have with our public works. So, and I think that's a good bid, but I think Shane.
I can share additional information, hopefully.
I got the information that I needed, I mean, as far as getting police equipment, that type of stuff, and what we have, so.
Do we want to share that, what we got out? So I know there's some public input last time about questioning the lease and why not lease first. I know we have that, but
Publish it or share it right now.
I mean, I think it's fine to share it right now and put on record what those different options were between
Okay.
leasing versus rental and that the cost, right? I mean, there was
Yeah.
significant differences in the cost. It's more fiscally responsible and a better budgetary spend to buy it outright versus leasing and rental.
I mean, I don't know that we need to get into the, do you have it,
I
like
know.
specific?
I just had to
dollars?
look it up. Yeah, I just had to look it up. So, the additional information shared was 2 examples. Do you want me to share who submitted the information? So, the low bidder shared, so I don't know if he watched the last council meeting, but was happy to share additional information. And the person is Mitch McDonough from Star Equipment. He did share alternative options to using the RFP, gave examples and did this within a spreadsheet and was able to share 500 hours of use per year, what the leasing would look like. The first option would come back at, I believe it was $65,091, which is $3,000 more than the low bid that came in. Then example number 2, which would be the rental rate and how many hours per month the rental rate times 24 months is what he gave us. Then we would look at purchasing at $108,720. And then share the actual spreadsheet with the pricing in the worksheet. And when I received that, I went ahead and shared it all with the council and did not reach out to any further bidders because of the bid law.
Thank you.
I'll motion to approve resolution 2025-88, award the bid for the track loader.
Second.
Been moved and second to approve resolution 2025-88. We'll vote. Councilperson Light,
Yes.
Councilperson Baskin,
Yes.
Councilperson Holhouse,
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Item B, budget transfers memo number 3, consider resolution 2025-87 to approve fiscal year 25 budget transfers number 3.
Okay, so again, 2025-87 just simply puts out there that my consideration to the council is to take 54,661 from RUT for equipment purchases and the general fund amount that was transferred for equipment purchases from the bank for equipment of $7,487 for the total of $62,148.
Make the motion to approve budget transfer from all 3.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2025-87, transfer number 3. We'll vote. Councilperson Basky?
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel?
Yes.
Councilperson Light?
Yes.
Councilperson Holdhouse?
Yes.
Okay, the next thing, I have already shared most of the budget worksheet or work session items with you. So I have outlined in budget session memo number 4 that right now, the estimated FY '26 tax levy for City of Urbana is at 14.32654 per 1,000 assessed. This will be remaining the same for the 3rd year in a row. And this goes in addition to the information shared with you that from Senate file last year with the ratcheting down formula, the City of Urbana, regardless of the amount of growth that we've had, our new money coming in is less than 27,000 again this year. And I've shared some of this information within my budget memo. So tonight, or we may have to have one more meeting, for the property tax levy is due to the online Department of Management system no later than March 5th at 4 p.m. Because starting last year, they started doing the required mailings that goes out through Benton County. So the requirement across the state is everything needs to be in by the cities by March 5th, and the required property tax mailing is supposed to be mailed to taxpayers by Benton County by, I believe, March 15th is the deadline for Benton County to get that out. I'm still analyzing, I hope to get a memo to you about our options for building inspector. With a retirement, I should say, his retirement. I'm just putting together a memo of different options that the City of Urbana could possibly use. We still need to make a decision on police budget. And if you go into the updated items would be special revenue. I went ahead and based on our previous budget, we included the road use tax, which is the RUT account, and up that to 210,000. Again, this is based on population for the City of Urbana. Lost, I think, is the same. That revenue is typically around 145,500. And then I think I added right now, based on the property tax worksheets that I included in the binder, right now, property taxes will be around 637,000, which last year was 635,000. So almost the same and very little new money coming in. The only difference with our tax and TIF information on here would be that we are now able to collect the TIF dollars on Town Center, and our last payment will go out to ClickStop for their previous ClickStop number 3. Do you guys see one on here that I'm missing? Ag land is about the same, tort liability same. Otherwise, these are all updated from our last session, and I've added all the numbers in, so behind the budget memo or in your packet, I guess, since I didn't have those. I tried to highlight on the very first page at the bottom there for you the property tax on the sample worksheet from the Department of Management website. So I believe one of the last decisions is the analysis of some of the data that's been shared with the police department. Otherwise, I think we've touched everything. Someone asked me at the last budget meeting, I updated the spreadsheet in here for you as well. The spreadsheet, I believe, someone had mentioned, not including in the budget so much overtime for public works, which I did an analysis on the spreadsheet. If you turn to the second page, I think I shared this and possibly with you. So I put in here fiscal year '24, what was budgeted and then what was actually spent. Then fiscal year '25, what was budgeted and then what was actually spent. And then what I'm proposing for FY '26. So for example, the first, and of course, Public Works is the only employees that earn overtime. So for example, in fiscal year '24, Trent Kramer, if you look at like the first one, second one, or third one, any of the employees, I believe I went from I think Tracy previously had like 200 hours for one employee, and so I knocked that down to more than half, because as you can see in the actual numbers on the spreadsheet there, we did not come close to what was actually in the budget for more than 2 years in a row. Obviously, you guys know this all depends basically on snow. The only time that we typically have large amounts of overtime is only due to snow, other than the required DNR weekend checks, which is another time that each of them alternate weekends and earn overtime when they come in to do the DNR checks. Does anyone have questions about the overtime that I have plugged in here?
I don't know if I have a plan.
Where are your papers that were? Maybe Josh took yours. No, just kidding. You can take mine, because I obviously have one. So we're going to lose the analysis. Did everybody else get one in their packet? There you go, you can just use this one. Fine. And then is there something else too in the budget that previously, I think we talked about insurance, and our bargaining unit and non-bargaining, I think, had the insurance locked in for another year. So the health insurance should be the same beginning June 29th of 2025. So I think that was locked in through the team care in the previous contract.
Did we, so I know we had talked about insurance for you and so if I recall, there was only one full-time insurance allocated for sale, is that right? We accounted for that on for the deputy, true? Within water and sewer.
I believe so, and so it is allocated and budgeted, even though I currently do not take the actual health insurance. So in City Hall, let me see if I can find which page that's on.
So I guess with,
Because it typically goes by a percentage. So I think I tried to explain this last time, that I was trying to take all of the employees and how we split their percentage for their salary to be the same for how we split their insurance. So the deputy clerk, the majority of the deputy clerk is utility billing. So I believe if you look on
I think I remember.
okay, so clerk, admin, insurance. So clerk, admin, insurance, part of the deputy utility billing clerk is out of, there's 12,000 out of water. And that would be on page 25. And then if you look up the sewer, clerk admin, the health insurance, the other portion is page 29, which is under sewer. So the deputy clerk is water and sewer, which makes sense because more than 90% of the salary is water and sewer clerk. Is that the answer to your question?
Yes. My only concern or question on that is, I know we're budgeting for that, it's a qualifying event base. It's kind of like an insurance policy, do you consider not, and just if that situation arose, having to go, you would just have a budget amendment to cover that? I don't know what makes the most sense there. Because like, potentially, you're going to put maybe one, but we budgeted for it at this point.
I mean, with the replacement though, what's the is it more probable that they're going to take the insurance?
Yes, I'm talking strictly about Jennifer's, not strictly, but mostly.
But did I miss this? Did you budget for yours in here too?
I thought I did.
Because I thought we were
Maybe I
just.
did not.
Yeah.
I was curious if both were budgeted.
Okay.
So they both were, but I was questioning the budgeting for, we have to assume. the deputy clerk
So what
is-
you're saying, assume budget for the deputy clerk because we know that that's likely the replacement going to be taken. But if in the event that our city administrator wants or has a qualifying event, we would just take that out of reserve, not budget for it.
Just about-
I don't know if this matters, but if you're thinking that it will change the property tax levy, it actually will not. And I'll tell you why. If you go to the front of is that what you're asking? Will taking out the insurance, if someone decides not to take the insurance, will it lower the property tax levy? Is that what you're asking? The
That's not what I'm asking,
14.32?
I'm curious to know.
Okay. So if you're curious to know, it does not, and I know this because I've already done it. So if you go in here, at this point in where our budget is, if you look on that first page, the largest amount of FICA IPers would be minimal. So if you look on this first page here, the one that I highlighted at the bottom, 14.32. Okay, if you go across to the line item that says, 14, and then your FICA IPers, line 30, the amount is minimal. So at this time, the only large amount that would impact this 14.32 number is if we had something that actually were to change in the debt service levy. And we do not, obviously. So the only amount that will change that to any decimal that would be somewhat significant, it would have to come from the debt service line. And I know this because I just also had a meeting with Maggie just this last week. And the only number that changes that is the debt service levy at this time.
So that rate, 592.05. I'm talking about up at line 30 that you were talking about. FICA and IPers, is that, or no, line
Right,
30, not line 30, but
14, I think is what that one, are you looking at the property liability and self-insurance
oh, that's
costs?
the one you're looking
Which one are you looking at?
at. I said 30.
Is there a 30?
FICA.
Oh, yeah, sorry, FICA and IPers. And if you go back and look at the FICA and IPers, that will not change for the deputy clerk because the only FICA, IPers, and insurance that will change this has to come from the general fund. So the deputy clerk, her percentage of 90% comes from an enterprise fund, and so does her FICA IFRS. So we don't levy on her health insurance or her
Yeah.
FICA IFRS. It would have to be something from the general fund. And hers does not qualify, therefore hers is not going to change the 14.32654.
I still don't understand how, if you reduce whatever it is, 21,000, how it doesn't impact it.
Okay,
You still
so
have to
in order,
right?
because if it's a property tax levy, the deputy clerk only comes from an enterprise
No,
fund.
forget the deputy, I'm talking about yours.
Oh.
Yours, forget, I understand the deputy side, I'm talking about your portion of it. So if we levied for your insurance, what's that being reduced from? If you're saying it won't impact these numbers?
No, if you're saying the deputy clerk, or excuse me, the city administrator, I would have to look to see if that would, because I'm sorry, I would not be able to do that calculation, not in my head.
That's okay, you see what I'm saying though? Like, does anybody agree or disagree?
But I'm not sure, that's totally up to you, but I'm not sure taking it out and then potentially having to put it back in, I'm not sure if it impacts it enough. I could go check on the system for you if you'd like me to quick. I have it pulled up from today.
No, I mean, not unless we think we're gonna approve this tonight, so, which I don't.
We'll do that, but
Okay, so.
I mean, I would be curious, I see what you're saying, I mean, what I'm used to is what I'm used to is that if you potentially have it, you budget it, but we also have the reserves. So that, what you're saying makes sense to me, why, if you're going to levy it, and it's going to make a difference, then I can see removing it.
Do you want me to go check it? I can certainly go do that and see if it changes for you.
Or we just take it as a takeaway.
Yeah, I think it's a good takeaway, because there may be more that will factor into.
So I can do this tomorrow then, I can do it both ways, so I'll do it this way with the city administrator, which is out of the general fund for insurance. And then also do it without the 22,000 health insurance. And see if it impacts the 14.32.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the reason to have it in, I was just curious if anybody thought it was worth entertaining that idea, and especially how it impacts the bottom line, so. It feels basically like an insurance type of levy, so.
My
Insurance on
apologies,
insurance.
I thought you were talking about the city clerk, or excuse me, the deputy clerk.
Oh, no worries. No worries. As far as the wages, I think, it's in here at 3%, right? For
For across the board, yes.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have further conversations about one, but as far as this year, this coming fiscal year, I'm good with that. I also don't think, I mean, when we looked at it, it was gonna be really $5,000, it's a minimal, it's not gonna impact the levy at this point, I think leave it in.
Well, mine would, potentially, if it's less than whatever a 3% raise for me would be. So, what is that? It's on the spreadsheet. So potentially my wage is taken out, part of my wage is taken out of water sewer, like less than 10%, but the other amount would be general fund, so whatever my raise is, so it's gonna be less than 3,000, so.
But that's not going to impact the, yeah, I mean,
Would be like
it'd be like
1,000.
pennies, yeah.
I'm good with that. I'm good with moving forward with that. If anybody else has concerns.
So after that, then, for only other thing we have left is, well, two things would be building inspector, but we budgeted for what we
I
had.
budgeted for exactly what we had before.
And then the police, which we brought down from 300-ish thousand to 100 and,
I think it's 180 right now,
180.
right now. Which I think all of that,
It says it's 148.
right, so you have to take the 148 plus the special revenue that is employee benefits and all of that, which is approximately.
Okay.
So that's where you have to go back to the property tax worksheet, so that would be on page, this would be the longer one that I put in there, so you would have to go to the page that says not re-estimated expenditures, but expenditure schedule, page 1, so if you flip 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. It must be like page 8. Make sure that you're looking at the one that says expenditure schedule, page 1. And at the top where it says police department, crime, it's line item number 1. It says in the general, 148,822, and then your special revenue that you also is 34,275. So whatever the amount of that is, I think it's like 183, something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you guys all find it? So special revenue means that that's the side that we can employee benefits, FICA, IFRS, insurance.
I guess I'm fine with leaving it how it is, or how it's budgeted, I guess, correct, at this point.
I mean, I would like to see it figured the other way with, for fiscal 26, where we consider, the contract amount only and back out the full-time wage and all of that goes along with it. I'd like to see the dollars, see how it looks. I know that contracting, I don't know if you got, their rate's gonna go up, so it's gonna be like basically double, but even at 12 hours, it's very, very, it's quite a bit less. And, got some assurances that they're covered, they're not gonna have any issues with the coverage going into this year, next fiscal year, so I would like to see those numbers and see what it does to the levy rate. Personally.
So we would plug that in, expecting that double rate for contracting.
I'm sorry, are we talking about the Benton County contracting?
Mhm.
Okay.
I mean, do we know that for sure that that's what?
I do not, know that for sure, but I did hear word like from, did the supervisors have a meeting or something and there was a request. I was told in an email that they have not confirmed the contracts yet. They weren't able to share it with me, so if anybody knows anything else right now, it has not been shared directly with me. And I put the request out, was that 2 weeks ago probably to Benton County, and they told me they would get back to me with the contract when they knew for sure how it would impact our next year contract. I'll reach out to them again and ask them.
They're likely going through the same
Yeah.
date range that we are.
And I'm sure that they're going to have the same situation with, because I would assume that theirs is due to the county, I mean, their county one is probably due at the same time, which
So-
is March 5th.
Can we plug that in, plug into the other piece with the insurance? And then can we set up one more budget session to look at that and make a final
We have one on
decision?
the calendar for next week, don't we?
We had tentative because
So can
we
we
were
just
trying to
keep that?
decide if we are going to need it, so I think we have it saved for both. And I believe it was the 25th.
Yeah,
Yes. We can do it.
Which was also in the minutes. I
Yeah.
believe it was in the minutes previously, I'm not sure, but. Okay, so I can do those two things for sure. It sounds like we want to keep the February 25th. Yes? Okay. And if you guys have additional information that you want me to plug in, if you can get it to me before the next meeting, or if you have additional questions that you want to see plugged in, because the March 5th, I think it's March 5th. The date that all cities have to have their information into counties. Yes, no later than March 5th. So it has, what we put online, our budget doesn't have to be completely done, but what we put in online that impacts the property tax levy, which is what I shared, is a hard deadline of March 5th. So if you have anything else that you think of after tonight's meeting, if you could email it to me, I will be happy to plug numbers in or try and get more information before the next meeting so that we have a really good idea. And I've been working extremely hard again to get this to be the same that it's been the past 3 years. I've been on the phone with Maggie, asking her questions as well, and I know I shared that with you guys, so when we've got very little money that's coming in with the ratcheting down, that's kind of where we sit. And
Yeah, thank you for doing that, Jennifer, I appreciate it. I know, I mean, we strive to never have that go up, and ideally it goes down. So I think this is very good, and hopefully we
I
can.
do think in the next 2 years, I do think that that will be coming down because there's the potential of, if you look at I believe did I put a debt schedule in your binders? Do you guys have the debt schedule? Because I believe there is, for some reason I don't have it in mind, but if somebody has it, oh, yeah, I do. I believe if you guys look at, there is a GO bond from the 2015. If you look at that on the first page, it's a red sheet. That falls off here at the end of 2026. That will impact that should impact our debt levy. And then if you look at the 2020B, that GO bond falls off. The last payment for that one is fiscal year 28. So there are two coming up very soon that should help lower that property tax levy. And then, of course, trying to pay off the sewer revenue loan, making additional payments with that. Which right now, that won't impact the debt levy just because that is paid with sewer revenue. So there is potential here, hopefully.
Okay, anybody have any other questions? I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, adjourn, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
I'm sorry. Is that-
Funny with assumptions about budget, we still have the police station officer